Morning, Dunk. Morning, Mr. E. Morning, Maggie. Morning, Linda. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Colin. Morning, James. Morning, Reg. Morning, Jordy. Morning, Thomas. Morning, Andy, Jenny. And Johnny was up. Morning, Eddie. Oh, it was Johnny, sorry. Andy, Johnny, 13. Morning. Andy, morning, everybody on Facebook as well. Jarrett, Jacqueline, Diane, Ake, Adele, Maggie, Karen, Lynn. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Tommy. Mags. Anyway, good morning, folks. How about then? 93, right? Couple of seconds, we'll have 100 on board. We'll get this broadcast underway. At the end of the broadcast, I'm going to put up a nice wee piece that was pointed out to me last night on the screen and read it to you. It's really entertaining. I think you'll enjoy it. Okie dokie. Right, that's me on the 100 he's on board. So it's Indy Truck Davey out the truck, not home, in his office in South North Lanarkshire, where it's not bad this morning. Sun's out, 4 degrees. All right, that's the weather forecast for South North Lanarkshire. You want to know what the weather's like where you are? Look at your rain, bloody windy. Right, this is the news review for the 8th of the 2nd, 2023. Wednesday started with 2 main teams in the rags. Trans butcher arrested in Borders over disappearance of a 11-year-old girl on Sunday, found on Monday. The girl was found safe on Monday and apparently was in the custody of this person. Right. And also the other main story in the rags was the ongoing tragedy and rising death toll in Turkey and Syria after massive earthquakes, 7.8, 7.5 on the Richter scale. It's being reported this morning that the death toll is now more than 16,000 and is expected to go to 20,000. Tragic is the only word I can think to describe it. A tragic loss of life in a natural disaster. It's bloody sin. All right, also in the rags, SNP MP Stuart McDonald says the fact of Scottish election would not bring Indy and would set back the independence movement for years. Maybe Mr McDonald, the MP for Glasgow South, would like to tell us his ideas on how we proceed. And while we're speaking of Mr McDonald told the BBC The Pravda yesterday in an interview that his email account had been hacked by the Russians. A Russian spy ring, apparently, right? The Davy says if they can compromise Mr McDonald's parliamentary email account, then they have access to the server and the accounts on that server. Thank you very much, Martin. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Right. So, if he's been hacked, they've all been hacked. So it appears the Russians have found their way into the Westminster servers and they can help them bloody selves. A fail owns national security. But we're going to get a lot of feel on this one for Westminster. Right, moving on. Wednesday here in Scotland, and the stooshy with the councils being underfunded took an interesting turn. So here we have the councils all screaming, "Nae money, nae money, nae money." But it comes out yesterday that they intend, the councils right across, fine, thanks, Davey. Councils right across Scotland intend to raid the reserves to hold celebrations for King Chuck's coronation while cutting public services. King Chuck can pay for his own coronation celebrations, thanks very much, councils. We need every penny we've got pumped into public services. Stop King Chuck. Wow. Moving on Wednesday. A new survey carried out by Yonder for the Consumer Rights magazine, which found 1 in 10 Scots skip a meal to save money. 77% of Scots turning heating on less, and 22% of parents do without proper meals to ensure their children are fed. I went off my dinger on this one yesterday, so I'm not going off my dinger on it today. But if you're a unionist in Scotland, how does it feel knowing your children are going hungry in a country with a world-renowned food and drink industry? How does it feel knowing grandma's going cold and can't heat and eat her house in a country so rich with natural resources, we produce more energy than we require. Oof. Justify that. Moving on, Wednesday, an EIS trade union to target ministers' constituencies and strike action. EIS will target the First Minister's constituency, the Education Secretary's constituency, and now the Deputy First Minister's constituency has been added to the list. The Davy says, so what? It's not going to make any difference to the negotiations, EIS trade union. None. The Scottish Government will put on the table what the Scottish Government can find in the coffers. So it ain't going to make a blind bit of difference where they target their strikes. From just in 3 weeks, a rolling strike right across everybody's constituency. Jeez, oh. Okay, right, moving on. Wednesday, in Dundee, Dundee-based publisher DC Thomson announces it's cutting some of its publications to plug a 10 million gap in the printer's funding. DC Thomson has a number of newspaper interests, the Press and Journal, the Courier, as well as the Sunday Post. It also does comics and magazines. DC Thomson has offices in Dundee, Aberdeen, Glasgow, and in England. It has offices in Colchester and London in England. Okay. Now, Rebecca Maskin, the CEO of DC Thomson, said DC Thomson will be announcing the closure of some well-loved titles, as well as the a cessation of some commercial activities. DC Thomson is yet to say where the axe will fall, but the CEO said that the move will lead to losing some valuable colleagues, and that's something that she regrets. Well, not bloody well do it if you regret it. All right, moving on. Wednesday, and here in Scotland, Transport Minister Jenny Gilraith gives a statement to the Parliament on the duelling of the A9 from Perth to Inverness. Ms Gilraith tells the Parliament that the timetable to complete the work, which was supposed to finish in 2025, is not doable after 2 years of pandemic, putting a halt on the works. She also tells the Parliament that only one contractor has bid to do the section from Tomatin to Moy, and that the bid didn't meet the value for money for the public purse, so that section will need to go back out to tender. Now, the news was not taken well by MSPs across the chamber, with the Tories, MSP, Highland SNP MSPs, and Labour MSPs no chuff. Right, now, Murdo the idiot Fraser said the road was dangerous. Ms Gilraith said they're investing additional $5 million on improving safety. With additional signs and marking is okay. Now, Murdo Fraser's wrong. Davies said this before, and Davies going to say this again. There's nothing wrong with a 230-mile stretch of road, which is the A9, the longest road in Scotland. Roads don't kill. Roads are just big strips of tarmac, or concrete sometimes. But the roads don't kill. Bad driving, faulty vehicles kill. Roads don't kill. Davies driven that road millions of times. I'm still here. I've seen a fair few accidents, but the accidents weren't caused by the road. The accidents were caused by idiots that thought they knew the road, and that weren't driving to conditions. So, apparently, according to Murdo Fraser, there was 13 deaths on the 230-mile stretch of the A9 last year. Well, you know, as I say, roads don't kill. Bad driving, inability to operate the machine properly, or faulty machinery itself kills on the road. The road itself doesn't kill. It's an inanimate object. So anyway, the duelling of the A9 has been pushed back. A new timetable will be brought before Parliament. The real reason for it is there's no money. So it's been kicked into the long grass. And Scotland's budget's being cut 5% this year and 2% for the next 4 years. 13% in total where this the term of the Parliament. then money's going to get even tighter. All right, moving on. Wednesday, a man accused of building bomb that brought down the Lockerbie, the Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie in 1988, pleads not guilty in an American court. Mr. Abul Aguila Masood faces charges of destruction of an aircraft resulting in death and destruction of a vehicle. So the boy who allegedly built the Lockerbie bomb has pled not guilty in a court in America. The trial continues. Okay, moving on. Wednesday lunchtime rolls around and PMQs is on. But isn't it really? All right. It was a strange affair, with Starmer and Sunak paying tribute to the brave people of Ukraine. SNP leader Stephen Flynn paid tribute to the brave people of Ukraine, and then went on the attack over Liz Truss's time in office. Mr. Flynn asked Sunak to apologise for the 30 billion she wiped off the economy, the 40% she wiped off people's pensions, the run in the pound she created, and of course, the interest rate hikes which see people can't afford their debts. Mr. Sunak, in reply, tells us everything what he thinks he's done to fix it, and doesn't apologise anyway. And then he goes on to tell us that he's going to go on with working hard for the peoples of the UK and the peoples of Scotland. Right, there's a Davy says there. Davy says the people of Scotland's reply to Mr. Sunak as, please don't continue to work on their behalf, you crooked idiot. Things are bad enough. Oof. Right, so basically that was First Minister, that was Prime Minister's tributes to the Ukrainian people because Mr. Zelensky's in London, and an attack on the Tories for the SNP. Not a lot really to report there. Anyway, moving on, next up, in the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers was an address by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He thanks the people of Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland for giving hospitality to his people during this fraught time and for giving them a place of safety. He thanks the peoples of the UK for support, and he praised Boris Johnson the Clown, Rishi Sunak and the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers for its support. He then praised King Chuck, who apparently is an RAF pilot. Then he asks, because that's what he's there for, then he asks for us to give him fighter planes to protect the skies over Ukraine and to give him tanks. But he's not getting any fighter planes because the UK only has 160 fighter jets, 130 Typhoons, and then there's a 30 F-35s, I think it is, of which only 101 of the Typhoon fighters are battle ready, and the F-35s are battle ready. So the UK Air Force only has 130 fighter jets. Wow. Now, as to tanks, he's had a one pair of tanks. He's not getting any more of them either. The UK military only has 227 Challenger tanks, of which only a quarter of them are battle ready for deployment. So basically, the UK has 56 tanks, 130 aeroplanes, and the Navy has 72 tubs, of which only 50 of them are seaworthy, and they only have 3 battleships. The rest are support vessels and coastal vessels. So, when you get right down here, it's another fail in its primary duty of government, protecting the people. 130 working fighter jets, 56 working tanks, 1 nuclear submarine in service, only 3 battleships, 1 working aircraft carrier, 72,000 full-time soldiers. How's that supposed to protect 68 million people and the landmass that is the UK? Another fail added to the list of failures in government when it comes to protecting the people. So where have Westminster failed in their duty as a government over the years? Because this is over the years. Right, so Westminster's failing to protect the people because there is no food security, no energy security, no fiscal security, no economic security, no defence capabilities. And the next one to be hit will be health security. Remember, folks, the primary duty of government is to protect its people. It would appear that the UK government can protect none of us from any of these things, which should be their primary duties to protect us. They should be protecting our food security, our energy security, our physical security, the security of our borders, the security of our economy, and our fiscal security. They failed on them all. The MOD has loads of aircraft. Gordon, I looked the figures up this morning. They have 160 fighter jets. Lots of aircraft, aye. But only 160 fighter jets, no wonder only 130 of them, as of this morning, are serviceable. Okay, moving on Wednesday, and the Guardian reports ex-Don of the criminal cabal, Bojo the Clown, has made 2.5 million in cash advances for speeches since leaving office. Bojo will be addressing investors in tech for cryptocurrency, and he'll also be addressing investment bankers and insurers. Why anyone would want to listen to that lying failure of a buffoon, I have absolutely no idea. And to pay him to do it, oofed. Anyway, Bojo and his family have also accumulated 2.5 million as well in hospitality and freebies. For example, Bojo is living in a very expensive townhouse in London, rent-free. Townhouse is worth a fortune, and is owned by Lord Bamford, who is a massive Tory donor. Right, but here's a question: if Bojo is making so much dough since he left office, why is it the public purse is picking up his legal expenses for the parliamentary inquiry into whether he misled the parliament or not? We shouldn't even need an inquiry. We all witnessed it. He did mislead the parliament. He told the parliament there was no parties. Turns out they were partying all the bloody time. Oofed. So why are we paying for his legal expenses when he's raking in that much money? Right, moving on Wednesday, and more Westminster failure. A Home Office review into the Prevent scheme, which is supposed to identify people who may become radicalised and terrorists. All right. And the idea of the Prevent scheme is to de-radicalise them before they get to the point where they become a risk to homeland security. All right. Anyway, a review held into the scheme by a Mr. Shawcross, you'll have heard his name before, top civil servant. He says the scheme is a fail. Now, the scheme puts a legal obligation on schools, on public bodies, like the police, schools and universities, to try and identify anybody who they think may be becoming an extremist and could turn into a terrorist, and refer them to the Prevent scheme. Now, apparently, two of the people who committed acts of terrorism over the last couple of years had actually been on the Prevent scheme. It hadn't de-radicalised them at all. Anyway, the evil one Mark II, Suella Braverman, she says the Prevent scheme needs an overhaul. Are you not kidding? Especially if people that are going through the scheme still go on to commit acts of terrorism. Anyway, they also reports in the report that the Home Office has pumped millions of pounds into this scheme, and the guy that heads up the scheme is apparently a Taliban sympathiser. Oofed. You couldn't make that up. So add that to the fail list. Homeland security. Oofty doofty. Okay, you could not make this stuff up, but it's all true. Right, moving on Wednesday, and reaction to the Supreme Court hearing and ruling on the NI protocol, and the Supreme Court ruling the NI protocol is legal, sees the DUP through their toys at the pram. The grown-ups in the room like Sinn Féin say the protocol gives Northern Ireland great economic advantages, and the UK and the EU should now get on and implement them. So Jeffrey Donaldson of the DUP says Article 6 of the NI Treaty of Union has been removed without consent of the people of Northern Ireland. He's absolutely correct. But the Supreme Court waved it by. And he also says it undermines one of the principles of the Good Friday Agreement, and that is when there is something big coming down the line like this, then the people of Northern Ireland are going to be consulted. Newsflash, Mr. Donaldson, the people of Northern Ireland were consulted in that last election, which led to you bringing down Stormont. They voted in majority of MPs who favour, MLAs who favour the protocol. That's how democracy works. You take it to the people in an election or a referendum, and they have their say. Well, the people of Northern Ireland had their say on the last election. They had the one that led to Sinn Féin becoming the biggest party and the DUP refusing to go back into the Parliament. So, anyway, it would appear that Article 6 of the Treaty of Union between Northern Ireland and the UK has been removed without consulting the people of Northern Ireland. And the Supreme Court reckons that's okay. It's not even amended, it's removed. So Northern Ireland no longer has the right to equal access to the UK markets, and its status in the UK has now changed because of that. Right, moving on Wednesday, and Westminster are about to kibosh another Scottish Government policy. Now, we've spoke about the Internal Market Bill. I tell you, this was another one of these things that are going to try and subvert Scotland's existence. Right? Now, apparently, the Scottish Government deposit return scheme for drinking vessels such as cans and bottles will be illegal when it comes into effect in August. Why will it be illegal? Well, apparently it will skew with the UK's internal market, and England's scheme won't be ready for another 2 years, so Scotland can't have its scheme first. But this is what we're talking about with the Internal Market Bill. They're going to kibosh another Scottish policy, voted for by the people of Scotland, because England's no ready. And it would affect trade with England. How it would affect trade with England, I don't know, because the deposit return scheme only applies in Scotland. It's no rocket science to readjust the price back down 20 pence in each drink, in each sold can or bottle of a liquid. No difficult. If it's 1.20 in Scotland, it's £1 in England because they don't have a deposit return scheme. When we take back the bottle here in Scotland, we get our 20 pence back. So the price is the same whether it's Scotland or England. It's still only £1 for that bottle of ginger, or bottle of juice, whatever you want to call it. Mental. Anyway, so there you have it. Expect another Section 35 to bounce off the table in August. Our very existence as a country is now a threat. And this internal market will mean things like university tuition fees being reintroduced, prescription charges being reintroduced. The internal market's to be a level playing field, apparently, so we're going to level down to the crap standards in England. Next thing they'll be wanting to pump shite into your water and all, because they're doing it in England. They'll want to feed us and grow Frankenstein foods in Scotland, because they're doing it in England. Aye, how dare Scotland be more progressive than little England? You're absolutely correct, Free Scotland. Right, so there you go. But Davy says the Scottish Government should just go ahead and introduce the scheme. England better get used to trade barriers because they'll be there after independence. And even the English, to be fair to them, don't expect the UK to exist in its present form in a decade's time. And there's growing support for independence in England, with independence in England polling at 49%. And the people of England want to take back control. So the ultimate form of taking back control for England will be independence. So we can look forward to English independence sometime soon enough. Right, now to bring you to the comedy bit at the end, right? Finally for Wednesday, back to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland Minister Chris Heaton-Harris to bring forward legislation to kick the NI election into long grass again. The election should have taken place in January. It was then moved by 12 weeks to April. April. It was supposed to take place on the 23rd of January, I think it was, and it was 12-week extension, taking them into the 13th of April. It looks as if Chris Heaton-Harris is going to kick it into long grass again and put another 12-week extension on it. Reason being, DUP have still got their toes at the pram and won't be back into the executive. Simple as that. Right, now for the comedy bit, folks. Are you ready for this? You like this one? This is a cracker. Apparently we're notorious, me and Gordon Ross, and we're hateful people. So here we go. What we got? Greetings. I voted no to Scottish independence in the referendum, and this is Jonathan Fair. Greetings from England. I hope being a member of this group and being English and living in Scotland is okay. But he's just said greetings from England. So where is he? Is he in England or is he in Scotland? I'm confused. I love Scotland and the whole of the UK too. I hope this is okay to post in this group. Please delete if not okay or is against the rules of this group. Remember, this is I voted no to Scottish independence in the referendum. Now, I'm not sure if members of this group have heard of a YouTube channel called Scottish Independence 2023. They have 5,280 subscribers. They are on Facebook as well. Now, apparently, it's hosted, this channel, Scottish Independence 2023. I actually know the channel, right? But it's not hosted by me or Gordon Ross. Our videos are posted there. Anyway, this Jonathan Fair goes on to say, it is hosted by Gordon Ross and Davy McGuinness. Davy McGuinness is an SNP member, guilty as charged. It is hosted by and this channel is the most anti-union, anti-English, racist, xenophobic, horrific videos that I have ever seen about UK or Scottish politics. The two hosts are so angry and hateful, and the two hosts keep on hating England and the English, hating union and unionists. The two hosts keep on mocking, ridiculing, insulting the English at every opportunity. The two hosts have said the most horrible, offensive, evil things, but it will not even be repeated here. I have reported all of their videos, but still YouTube and Facebook will take no action against them. So this is for Jonathan Fair, just to be fair. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. Me and Gordon Ross apparently are such anti-English hate. We hate the English apparently. So if it's fair, it's Jonathan Fair, let me make this clear. I don't hate the English, never have. And I don't insult the English. I describe the English. People who vote against their own interests repeatedly, or keep doing the same thing repeatedly, expecting a different outcome, is the very definition of stupid. So if I describe voters in England for repeatedly voting against their own interests as stupid, then that's what I'm going to do. As to Facebook and YouTube not doing any of your videos, mine's or Gordon Ross's. Well, you can find mine on the Two Davies channel as well. And you can find it on IndyCar Gordon and Indy Truck Davy channel. You'll find it in Independence 2023 on YouTube, and you'll find it in the Two Davies YouTube. You'll find my shows there. All right. The reason why they haven't taken them doing is describing a people is different from insulting a people. When I describe your crooked Westminster Parliament, Mr. Jonathan Fair, as being a house of thieves and carpetbaggers and crooks, that's because it is a house of thieves and carpetbaggers and crooks, and nobody can take that down, because that's the truth. In fact, we've just seen it with government ministers tax dodging and things like that. Now, as to describe the English electorate as illiterate, as stupid, well, that's fair. And I'm sorry if there's anybody here who's English. I know, but the English as people are very generous people. But when it comes to being the bloc and voting, they're as thick as mince. They keep voting for parties that destroy their public services and put their children in poverty and see grandma freezing their house. Anybody that votes for that is stupid. The English people repeatedly do it. So I am not insulting the English people, Mr. Jonathan Fair. I am describing them. Much to my despair, when they're not at the ballot box, they're pretty reasonable people. Nice people. Going very well with them. In fact, there's an awful lot of English folks in the SNP and English folk in the English and the Scottish independence movement. Oh, wonderful people. It only seems to be used people south of that border that vote against your interests repeatedly. And if describing that and calling it stupid has upset you, Jonathan, tough. As if I care what people when I voted no to the Scottish independence in the referendum go to say. They're as thick as the people in England, because they voted to stay in this mess. And if I just say people who repeatedly vote against their own interests, despite the evidence to their own eyes, that is stupid. That is the very definition of stupid. Yeah. Right, that's what I've got for you today. So let's have a look and see what the rags have got. I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found it informative. What's the rags got to say this morning? Okay, Scotland's papers. Now give me your Jets and A9 Joe in betrayal. Thanks for the tea. Now give me your Jets, says the Red Tops. The Times has give us wings for freedom, says Zelensky. The Tory Graph says give us wings for freedom, says Zelensky. The loony right-wing fascist rag, the Daily Express, has sent Zelensky all our jets. Well, all 130, and how are we going to protect ourselves? Wow! Saying that, we can't protect ourselves with only 130 jets. The Scottish Daily Mail has now give him wings he needs for freedom. Picture of Sunak with a pilot's helmet on, and Zelensky looking unhappy with a pilot's helmet on because he knows that Sunak's not going to give him any airplanes. The Eye has UK warns Putin we may send fighter jets to protect Ukraine. No, you won't, because that would mean there's no fighter jets here to protect us. And more importantly, you could bloody well provoke Russia, and that would wipe us all off the face of the earth. The Metro has UK, Ukraine. Zelensky meets the King on a historic visit to thank Britons. He makes a plea for fighter jets. Sorry about this, folks. Right, let's have a look. Where are we? We're on the papers. The Scotsman has Zelensky meets King as UK mulls sending Ukraine fighter jets. And how are we going to protect ourselves? We don't have an armed force to protect ourselves. What little will go if we get to Ukraine, that makes us a sitting bloody target. And the Courier has A9 dueling target date no longer achievable. I've almost spoken about why. And the Press and Journal A9 dueling scheme will miss 2025 target. The Daily Answer has death by 1,000 cuts. Plans to slash 22 million from care service will put lives at risk. Vital OAP care home places and drug addict rehab face act No money, can't fight for it. Don't blame us. You spanners voted to stay in this union. Scotland's a very rich nation. Wow. The Herald has. And by the way, the Record, the Scotsman and the Herald were all anti-independence. Exams faced disruption amid mountain teacher pay out. Tough. Can't get blood out of stone. The National has. US politicians or us politicians aghast at the state of the UK. Scottish MPs report back after trip to Washington DC. And Leslie Riddoch, so de facto or not de facto. Basically. What else we got in the rags? Where's the star of the day? Right, the Daily Star of Scotland has half-time Harris, Super Bowl touchdown for Calvin. Scots DJ and show rumour. Hey, excitement's building for Sunday's Super Bowl, it says in the Daily Star of Scotland, and it reveals rumours that Scottish DJ Calvin Harris will take to the stage with half-time headliner Rihanna. Never watched the Super Bowl, not really interested, but anyway, that's what the Stars go for us today. Right, folks, that's what I've got for you today. It was nice, the audience numbers are great. Majority of audience is now on YouTube, believe it or not, but audience figures are good. 212 of you watching at the moment. I want to thank you all for that. I want to thank anybody who's made a contribution this morning to the Food Bank Fund and to everybody who's here watching the channel. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button, it helps. It really does help the channel. Okay. Now, if you're on Facebook and you're going to share this, give me a wee minute to make it public when I end the broadcast. Okay. The two Davies, this is Thursday, I think. Aye. So the two Davies will be going ahead at 4 o'clock. So you'll get a double dose of me today. Okay. So for any of you that are around at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the two Davies will go live then. What we're going to talk about? Not quite sure. But there's been plenty to talk about, so we no doubt be able to fill wherever. Alright, so thanks very much. Now remember, support the independent media, support Broadcasting Scotland, Independent Live and Live Radio, Caledon Media, Through Radio, the iScot magazine, and support the national newspaper, support and support independent bloggers and bloggers. If we get a crowdfunder on the go, the way that we have now to support people who are a wee bit down in the luck, then throw a couple of pennies in the pot if you've got it, but only if you've got it, alright? Don't put yourself in a position, because that'll no help anybody. Okay, they keep your eyes on the prize. They've been ramping up steadily for a while now, you know. But the unionist fear is actually tangible. They know the argument is lost. That's why they won't allow an election or a referendum on the issue. There will be a way around it, and we will get out of the line. So keep your eyes on the prize. And when you're out there talking to people on the campaign for independence, stay away from party politics and stick to the big issues that they want reassured on. The economy, borders, currency, central bank, trade. Stick to these things. Defence. Stick to these things. Put your party politics in your pockets, alright? Keep your eyes on the prize. Now, follow the last couple of bits of guidance, folks. Clean hands and surfaces regularly. And if you're not feeling great, mask up in public places. Show a bit of social consciousness. Alright? That's it for the day. We'll be back this afternoon, me and the other Davey, for the two Davies talk show. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning for the last one of the week. You guys look after yourself and have a nice day.